We're here today outside the brand new headquarters of Hull Community and Voluntary Services in Beverley Road, Hull. Hull CVS deliver a wide range of products and services. We're going to speak to Tom Greeley, the centre manager, who will tell us how this drop-in centre works, where volunteers and potential volunteers can come right in and find places to put their energies. We're going to go out to two places. We're going to go to Ainthorpe Parent and Toddler Group, and we're going to go to Wansbeck Allotments and see how both those projects, funded by Hull CVS, have really helped their local communities. One by supporting young families, one by supporting young people, giving them confidence and skills to find long-term employment. Let's speak to Tom Greeley and find out how he makes a little bit of money go a long, long way. Come on.
Good morning from CVS. Okay. Hello.
Right, well, we're standing here in the Volunteer Centre at Hull CVS. Volunteer Centre Hull is an integral part of Hull CVS. We provide, as you know, at the CVS a range of services for the voluntary community sector across Hull. So besides volunteering, which is very high on the national agenda, we also have the additional services of our links team, grants, information, advice, support, and in top of that we've got our finance services. This particular part of the building is our drop-in centre, where members of the public can come in, inquire about volunteering, meet a member of staff, sit down, log on to the National Volunteering website, www.doit.org.uk, and have a look at anything between 1 and 300 volunteering opportunities to get involved in. Everyone who comes in to us is offered what we call a one-to-one confidential interview with an experienced member of staff, and it's about finding out what your aspirations and your interests are and what area of volunteering you might be excited about. There's about 23 different headings of things you can do as a volunteer, and the role of the volunteer advisor in these interview rooms is to talk to you, find out where you're coming from, what you want to do. There's around about 16,000 people in Hull alone giving a couple of hours a week free of their time to volunteer.
We've been out to Ainthorpe Parent and Toddlers Group and Wansbeck Allotments, the community project there that's running. How do you make those things happen?
Well, first of all, we work with organisations like Wansbeck and the Toddlers Groups, and indeed another 300 organisations and groups across the city, and we look to see what their volunteering requirements are. We carry out what's known as a volunteering health check, look at their policies and procedures to support volunteers, and we provide training for those who manage volunteers.
We had a health check from Hull CVS, and one of the ladies came in and told us, went through what we've got in place, our constitution and things like that, and then she said, well, you might need to do this to get the funding, this, that and the other, or some funders look at that. And she gave us a list of people who do funding. So they've actually signposted us, I suppose, into other funders.
Hull CVS have really helped us with various funding for our library, 6-month rent, which was fantastic, IT equipment, a camera, you know, really, really good.
We're not talking about huge sums of money here, are
No.
we? Like for the library, for example, that was just £250.
£250, yeah.
So what sort of value do these small pockets of money give you?
Well, that's really enabled us to refresh a lot of the books that we did have, which were becoming old. And the lady that runs the library, she was a volunteer from PLA. So we've managed to keep her on, she didn't want to leave us, and that £250 has actually enabled us to keep it going.
So you're really talking about a little bit of money going a long way
Exactly,
here,
yeah, that'll set us up for a long, long time.
There's lots of interest in volunteering, but there's also about 25 different headings that you can get involved in. So in the case of the allotments group, there's a lot of interest at the moment, particularly spring coming up, around horticulture, environmental issues. There's also lots of interest around working with young people.
We started by trying to improve the site and getting funding. First of all, we got equipment for the plot holders, obviously, that was our initial thing, and now we're improving the site. When it's up and running, we're hoping to access people that perhaps couldn't do a garden, haven't got a garden, perhaps live in one of the bungalows, one of the older people retired who love gardening. But obviously the council keep their gardens. We're after targeting community groups in the local area that would like to come down perhaps once a week and have a little hour doing and socialise. People come on and see half a plot or even a full plot, and
Yes.
it can be very daunting. This is come and have a go, have a try if you like it. You can stay on there if that is enough for you, if that's all you're capable of doing. You can stay on the community plot as long as you like, but if you want to develop from that, you can come onto the site and perhaps have half a plot and really get involved.
The Community Task Force have been set in place to help with the Wansbeck Allotment Association. We are building a wheelchair accessible community plot. It was set up in October 2010. It's been running successfully since then, helping out in different projects on behalf of the Hull City Council as well. It was created itself to provide working experience and additional skills to people aged between 18 and 24 who have been out of employment for 6 months or longer. Gets them back into a working routine, which is always good because obviously, as you know, after a couple of months or so being unemployed, you can lose motivation quite quickly. And as you can see, the plot, it's something that the people that we work with can build themselves a project that they can see from start to finish, hopefully, and they can see all the work that they've done and that they've contributed. Some have found employment before they've actually finished the course, so that's how successful it's been.
Right, so not only are they practicing with their hands, the physical bit, you're getting their mind stimulated as well.
Definitely.
Okay, thanks Simon.
No problem.
My biggest hope is that everyone will have access to volunteering. But the challenge will be to ensure that A, we have the resources to reach out to everyone, and B, we have not just the financial resources, but also the workforce and volunteer resources. Every government minister talks about the big society, and whilst the big society is great, in essence, it doesn't work unless people are prepared to give the time. But the volunteering isn't free and it's not cheap. And there needs to be that realisation that to make all of this work in the big society, money needs to be invested in volunteer management and volunteers.
Tom, thanks very much for talking to us today.
Thanks
Been a real
very
pleasure.
much.
All it takes for anything to happen is for people to give a little bit of time and energy. We've seen how Hull CVS support the local and community voluntary sector right across Hull. We've seen how a little bit of funding makes a real difference. A new library at Ainthorpe Parent and Toddler Group. We've seen how the idea of healthy living is being supported at Wansbeck Allotments and how they're giving hope, skills, confidence and real qualifications to get young people out into long-term employment. As Hull CVS themselves say, it's helping you make a difference.